and welcome to the latest episode of Harmonious World. My name is Hilary Seabrook. Harmonious World is an independent podcast that allows me to talk to musicians and those with an interest in music about what they're doing that makes the world a more harmonious place. It's based on a Quincy Jones quote that goes something like, "Imagine what a harmonious world it would be if everyone shared a little of what they are good at." Thank you for joining me. And for this episode, I'm joined by Adrian Cox, who's a clarinetist who I've seen play a couple of times, but I'm delighted to be talking to him about his trio album, Club Croco. What you're listening to now is New Orleans Stomp, one of the tracks from this album. But I hope you enjoy listening to my conversation with clarinetist Adrian Cox.
Hi, Hilary.
There you go. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
It's a real pleasure to talk to you for Harmonious World. So thank you for joining me.
Wonderful that you've invited me. Thank you so much.
So we're going to talk about Club Croco, which is out now, has been out for a couple of months. So how did this album come about and how did you select the tracks to go on it?
Okay, so being a jazz clarinetist, my absolute favorite music is early New Orleans music, where it all started. All the great clarinetists, Johnny Dodds, Albert Nicholas, Sidney Bechet, George Lewis, the list goes on. And so I've got to a point in my career now where I've realized actually the thing that got me into music and playing this music is actually the thing that I should be out doing. Because if you're out doing something, I've always tried to be honest with everything that I'm doing, but now I've cut down to a trio and literally just playing all my favorite tunes, coming up with arrangements for them, and just trying to. I never think you can reinvent this stuff. I just think, just put across your best representation of the music of where it all started, really. So the choices of tunes are it's so many tunes to choose from, but that's the tunes that we're touring at the moment. So we put it together for the album.
Right. And it is interesting doing this kind of music in that trio setting. So you've just got a bass player and a guitarist, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, double bass and guitar.
Yeah.
So, I mean, traditionally in the old days, it would have been banjo. However, that's what makes it quite a nice setup and makes it quite contemporary, really. And people have said it just proves how good those tunes were because they sound so current, and we're just trying to put across our best version of that music. I love that music so much, and it's the whole reason that I play music and everything I've done, So.
Right. And you're a busy jazzer, aren't you? So this is your opportunity to play the tunes that inspired you in the first place before you got to do all of that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm saying that I went professional when I was 15, and the band who I joined when I was 15 years old, we were doing 300 shows a year on tour, touring all over Europe, playing old New Orleans music, and with that band we had a repertoire of over 700 tunes, so it was, and that's what we were doing just on tour, just all the time. So it was, and it's nice that I've gone back to that because then as you keep trying to think, right, what's the next thing I'm going to do, right, maybe if I do this, that, and then actually you realize that do the thing that you love and I feel so privileged that I've made a living off doing exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
And even more so now, I'm doing exactly what I'm doing, and people keep coming to the concerts, they keep selling out, and people keep buying the music. And I sat here in my home in Sweden having a lovely time.
Fantastic. What's not to like then?
Exactly.
Right. So talk to me about the other two people on this album then.
So the other two people on this album, on guitar is a man called Honey Bolton. He's originally from New Zealand and he's living in London. And he came and did a session for me in January 2024 when I was doing a quintet with Joe Webb on piano and all of that. And it was the first time we worked together. And I just I loved his whole approach. He came to my gig completely prepared. He'd listened to the music, all the reference points were there, everything. And afterwards, I said, about a week later, I said, hey, it was great to work with you. I'm thinking of what I want to do for 2025. And I said, I want to put together a trio, get obsessive about New Orleans music, and we'll write arrangements and we'll tour all around the world. And I said, are you up for doing that? And he said, yeah, I am. So that was good. And then I originally had another double bass player called Will Sash from 2024. But unfortunately, there were kind of clashes where there was, oh, I won't be able to do this bit of a tour. And for me, my whole, from a very early age, was that you are always the same band.
Yeah.
You practice together, you travel together. I think that's the most important, that everybody in a band arrives in the same frame of mind. So anyway, I got in touch with my friend, someone who I'd worked with 6 years ago called Alex Gilson, who's a Parisian bass player. He lives in New York now. However, it doesn't matter because everything we do is touring. So, and I got in touch with him and we'd always said, oh, one day we'll play in a band together. And I said, right, it's happened. Do you want to join the band as of January? I said, here's the gig list. You know, and we had shows in France, Denmark, Sweden, New Zealand, all over the UK. And he said, count me in, I'm in. So he joined the band and the three of us together. And the great thing was Honey Bolton and Alex Gilson hadn't even met in January. So the first time they met was at the rehearsal in Paris. And immediately from the first note that we all played together, it just all slotted together. And we have the best time on tour. So it's great.
That's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel very lucky about that as well, you know, because there's always one part, oh yeah, they're really good muso, but they're a bit hard work to hang out with, or they're a great hang, but they're not quite up to it. But with this, everyone in the band, because it's such a small unit, nobody can ever take their eye off the ball. So you're always deep in the music, because if you were to sit and just go, oh yeah, right, what's happening next? You'd lose your way. And that's not to say that the music is so, it's not so rigid that it's not in a box. It just means that it can go anywhere and it's exciting. It's really exciting.
That's brilliant. And I noticed there are some vocals.
Yes. So I sing, I think on that I'm singing Why, which is a tune by Jelly Roll Morton, one of my favorite that he wrote and sang. And I ain't going to give you none of my Jelly Roll. I sing that one. And then Honey Bolton, I said to him, I said, do you sing? He said, well, I sing about, I said, well, you're going to sing now. Because I just think everyone can sing and everyone's a singer. And I think the main thing with singing is that you sing songs you want to sing.
Yeah.
It's when you get people going, oh, I just got to look up the lyrics for this. I've got, hang on, have the audacity to learn and sing the melody. Sing the melody, learn the lyrics. You know, if you're not going to do either of those things, don't do it. And Honey's singing on it is just fantastic. I love it. And now Alex is actually when we're on tour, he sings a song. It's not on the album, but it will definitely be on the next recording. But he sings in French, so that's wonderful. You know,
that's lovely. Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool.
Fantastic. Right at this point, I would like to play my favorite track from the album because I'm allowed to because it's my podcast.
Yes, of course.
My favorite is Bluer Than Blue.
Yeah, wonderful.
Singing a blues song that's bluer than blue. I lost a friend I thought truer than true, without any warning, since yesterday morning. I'm king of the blues. My eyes are all glassy, but I've not had a drink. Spend 24 hours just trying to think. Why would she leave me? Why would she leave me? Bluer than blue. It's like a disease, makes you grieve, lose all ambition, have run down condition. My mind is insane, my heart is aflame. I love her so, Oh yes, I know that no other love song will I ever sing. Blues in my heart, they shall always ring. Why would she leave me? Why would she leave me? Bluer than blue.
Lovely track. So tell me about that one and why did you choose it?
So Blue and the Blue. So when I said to Honey Bolton, I said, Honey, what are you going to sing? What are you going to? And he came to me, he said, there's a wonderful track by Lil Hardin. Now, Lil Hardin was a pianist, composer who was married to Louis Armstrong. I think it was his first wife, and she was wonderful. They wrote so many tunes together, and she wrote so many tunes on her own. And this is one that she wrote and she sang. Yeah, Bluer Than Blue.
So tracks like that, tracks off on the album, are you playing all of these on the tour, or are you mixing up and playing? Obviously, you'll be playing other things as well. How's that working?
We have got a program of music that we have a pool of tunes that we can choose from at any point, but we do have a program of music, and as we're touring at the moment, I would say 95% of the tunes from the album are in the program each night. We play, to be honest, in a 45-minute set or 50-minute set, we play 12 tunes. So of an evening, if we're doing 2 1-hour sets or an hour and a half concert for us is 19 to 20 tunes. People are like, oh, what? Normally when someone says an hour set, oh, that's 7 tunes. It's like, exactly, no, for us, it's an hour and a half set is 20 tunes. So 21 tunes sometimes. So it's lovely. And I always think it's so important that if people, with selling albums and selling music, people come to a concert and they want to go home and be reminded of that concert. So there's nothing worse than when someone comes up to you and says, oh, were any of the tunes you played tonight on the record? And people go, no. And they say, oh, is it the band that we watched on the record? No. It's like, and people go, oh, we're really struggling to sell albums. It's like, do the thing, present the thing, and sell the thing with the people who just did the thing. And it really, really works.
It really does. It really does. I went to a lovely gig recently with Ineza, who's a singer. I don't know if you know her. She's originally from Rwanda, but she lives in London now. She's also from Belgium. Lovely, lovely singer. And she did exactly that. She's written these tracks. She's recorded them. They're on the album. She played them at the album launch with everybody who is on the album. And when you take home the CD, you're taking home a little bit of that night.
Exactly. And even some people go, I haven't got a CD player and I haven't got a vinyl player. However, I love the artwork. They're like, and we just had such a good night. We want to, we want to show our love for the project. And we know that this stuff doesn't just make itself, it's. And so I think it is that's such a free lesson in just sell the thing that you've just done with the people you did it. So
absolutely. In fact, most of what I listen to on the computer, that downloads and stuff usually, but because I get things early, whatever. But I still will buy the album when I go to a gig, just because I'm kind of going, here you go, I'm making a little donation into your pocket, because it does, as you say, this music doesn't make itself.
No, I think it's so important to support things. I spend time looking on Bandcamp, stuff comes up and I'm like, oh, what's that? And then I'll order an album and it's also wonderful when you do that and you forget that you've ordered something and then it arrives and it's always like, oh yeah, now I'm going to put that on, and you make a thing of listening to it. And I think people like that whole thing. Yes, we were at that concert. Yes, and this is what I got from that concert. I think it's so important. Keeps the whole thing moving.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I want to talk to you about the artist, Con McHugh.
Yes.
What's going on there?
So Con McHugh is absolutely fantastic. He's when the EP that we had out before that came out in 2024 was called Making Runs. But when I was thinking about it, how we're going to do it, we want to make the whole thing accessible to everyone so that somebody might click on it, not just because they're a jazz fan, but because they go, this looks interesting. What's this? So by chance, I had seen stuff Con McHugh had done for Bristol Jazz Festival, and I sent him an email. I got in contact with somebody else first and gave them a whole brief, of which they came back and said, I don't really understand what you mean. To which I thought, okay, I thought I was pretty clear. I'll send this to this Con McHugh, who came back and said, yeah, I totally get it, totally understand. He said, I'll make you 3 options, and it was great. And so we, with that EP with Making Runs, we had a connection, and we it was a proper collaboration. And then in the meantime, since then and this album, we actually did a live show where he had live animation in the background. So he had made all these animations for the program of music that we did for Making Runs. And so the great thing was, when he had come to me with 3 different ideas for Making Runs, we were able to run with one of them that he had already started. So I said, yeah, let's go on with this. And it was the one that, when we did the live show with animation, it had a lot of kind of New Orleans-y kind of critters, and had the bird and the guitarist. And obviously alligators are in New Orleans, but we went with crocodile. It doesn't really matter. And Club Croco. He actually came up with the title, because people said, where's Club Croco come from? And I said, right, Con, you're in charge. You're coming up with the name. I said, you're doing the artwork, so you can come up with the name. But his animation and his artwork, and since he started putting all this stuff out, our collaboration, it's gone crazy. It's like stuff's having, the last thing I think's had 150,000 views. It's 10,000 likes on this. We put stuff. It's a real proper collaboration, and he's so wonderful to work with. He's so down to earth, and any little thing that I ask him, can we do this? Can we do that? He's an integral part to the project.
Right. And I love it when we get different media, different art forms, different bits of culture that come together, because that's where inspiration comes from, isn't it?
Oh, completely. And also it inspired what I put on the album as well. It meant that I kept it very rooted in New Orleans. It meant that Mama Nita was in there with that kind of, with the Spanish tinge, that kind of thing. And he's really, really. And when we did the live show with the animation, there was a lot of artists who came to the concert because of Con's artwork. And there was a lot of musicians who came, and music fans who came, and jazz fans because of the jazz. So then you've got these two different worlds meeting, which should all be meeting anyway. Well, yeah. But people were buying the music because of Con's art, and then people were buying the music because of the music. And then everyone's going, oh my gosh, I've discovered your music through Con's art, and then I discovered Con through this. And it's a real genuine collaboration that's worked like for both of us in such a really organic way. It's so nice.
That is great, isn't
it? And it will continue on for ages. We're already excited for the future things. He's like, oh, I've got some ideas for whatever next, so we're always looking forward.
That's the way to be.
Exactly. Yes. I think it's important.
Fantastic. Oh, it's such a pleasure to talk to you, Adrian, and come back
it's been
to
wonderful
soon.
to talk to you. Yes. I hope we can come and make a visit on the tour. We're touring extensively next year in February. We're in the UK. I think we've got something like 24 shows in the diary already, and we're touring in October this year, and all over the world really. So we've got New Zealand, Australia, Japan, Singapore, all those kind of things. Yeah, it's good fun, and I'll make sure we come to Hitchin.
Brilliant, thank you. And I will put a link in the show notes so that everyone can see where you're going to be and they can catch up with you.
Wonderful, thank you so much.
Well, I hope you enjoyed listening to that conversation with Adrian Cox. Always looking to the future. What you're listening to now is Mama Nita, which he talked about briefly. Please do check out past episodes. There are 300 of them, so there's lots to listen to, lots of amazing musicians that I've spoken to. You can also check out my reviews of albums and live gigs on hilaryseabrook.co.uk. All the links are in the show notes. But thanks for joining me once more for Harmonious World. Thank you for listening to the latest episode of Harmonious World. My name is Hilary Seabrook, and it's a great delight to bring this series of discussions with musicians and composers and writers and all sorts of people to you. Obviously, there's no point in having a podcast if people aren't listening, and I'm very grateful to my listeners for doing so. Thanks also to Joe English for composing and performing this new theme tune. So wherever you get your podcast, you can leave a review. You can share this with your friends and family, either as a link or on social media and that sort of thing. I'd be really grateful for that. Don't forget that you can subscribe now. There's a link wherever you get your podcasts. So have a great week, and please remember why I started this, which is just to try and make the world a little more harmonious. Thanks for listening to Harmonious World.